Hey guys, how's it going? It's Shay the Coach here, just checking in with the mind-body connection training. 5K, yoga, meditation, mindfulness triathlon, all right? So, what we're doing this week is talking about the body piece. Last week we talked about mind, the things that happen between the ears, right? I shared a little bit about my family, and I think, there's some sadness, and there may always be that, so I honor it, but I still train, right? I still train. So here's what's up. This sheet right here is 1 week of cardio protocol for my body, all right? So I want to introduce zone training to you, right? So remember, we have aerobic training in the presence of oxygen, primary source of fuel fat, anaerobic training in the absence of oxygen, primary source of fuel, carbs. Then we have me, that's keto-adapted, and I burn fat in both states, okay? So that's actually really reassuring for me, right? Because I was wondering, how am I going to be able to do what's called interval training or sprint without taxing my body because it doesn't have carbs in it? So this is how we're going to talk about zone training and interval training, okay? So zone training, there's different approaches to it. I'm certified through the National Academy of Sports Medicine, and they do 3-zone training, okay? The reason I'm going here with 5-zone training, though, I'm going to introduce 5-zone training, is because that's what Lifetime Fitness does. And Chuck and Robert are the ones that I'm working with at Lifetime Fitness. So my program is 5 zones, right? And so what it is each zone has a set purpose. Zone 1, your warm-up zone, all the way up to zone 5, which is an all-out full body sprint, right? And so what it then does is it allows you to know where my heart rate needs to be and at what speed I'm going to be able to aerobically or anaerobically do exercise. Okay, and so my warm-up is 12 minutes and it takes me through all 5 zones. So what that does is it allows the body to heat up, prevents injury, and then also allows the aerobic system and the anaerobic system to both get started. Then it's followed by several intervals. So interval meaning, zone 1 for 5 minutes. Boom, zone 4 for 1 minute, right? I'm just using one example, okay? So what that does then is you just alternate, because then it uses both systems, right? And what that's done is my close to 20-minute mile in less than 1 week is down to, I get a little speechless, is down to about 14 minutes. So zone training is it's effective for me. I'm really happy with the results, actually. So I don't want to get into the specifics of, zone 1 for X minutes, zone 5 for X minutes, repeat this, because it shifts. It's going to shift from week to week. And it's based on those 2 metabolic assessments that I did. So zone training, interval training, what it's doing is it's allowing me to know where my heart rate needs to be, for how long, and at what speeds to maximize my fat burning. And then also to tax both my aerobic system and my anaerobic system, which is really improving my cardiac output, right? It's improving my endurance, basically. So that's really cool and really exciting. So I want to do a quick call to action. Now that you know how I'm training, I want to know how you're training. So do you do zone training? Have you heard of zone training? So 1, have you heard of zone training? 2, if you use zone training, what kind do you use? And that would be your call to action. So, oh, yeah. Or 3, do you use a different approach? So, sorry about that if that was confusing. Recap on the call to action. 1, have you heard of zone training? 2, if you use zone training, what kind? 3, do you use a different method? If so, what kind? All right, I've said enough. I'll see you next time.